Welcome to Commander Tuneup with the Nitpicking Nerds.
This time we're upgrading James, our patron's Nymris, the all-flash deck.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily Magic the Gathering content specifically focused on Commander. And if you want to support the channel, the really easy, free roll way is to just subscribe. But if you want to go even deeper than a subscription, there's a Patreon link in the description. That's the best way to support us.
Yeah, it literally is the best way because you'll be giving us money directly, and we appreciate that. Another way to support us would be TCG player link in the description below. Go there, click the link, buy the cards you were going to buy anyway, and guess what? The Nitpicking Nerds get a kickback. What's the other link?
Well, it's dragonshield.com. They sort of have sleeves, but they're so good and high quality that I would call them the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
So if you went to buy them through our affiliate link, that would be like, you get the best sleeves ever, and then we get some money from Dragon Shield, not even any extra money from you.
Yes. So happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is today, and happy birthday to all of your pets who have a birthday
Double
today.
birthday wishes. Let's go. What is a Commander Tuneup?
Commander Tuneup is where we take your patron-submitted deck, and under your restrictions, we make the deck happen. This deck came into us as a Nymris deck that was like $350, and we were allowed to add and cut all but like a couple of cards, and we had to keep the deck's total under $350, meaning if we cut an expensive card, it gave us more to add. So we kind of went with that, and we just made the deck cost less than $350.
Yeah, James got this idea from one of our videos, actually. I had to go back and check. It is under 10 unique decks, number 3, if you want to go check it out. But that's where this idea came from, which is actually cool to see that we're tuning up a real version of it. It was the all-flash deck, meaning every single card in the entire deck has to either be an instant or have the word flash or flash equivalent, with errata and oracle text on it.
Only exception, lands, as lands could not have flash. That wouldn't work. That's not how lands work. So let's get into this deck. So the first reason, why are we putting this flash thing? Well, let's read our commander Nymris to find out.
It's 3 blue-black for a 1/6 flying flash Fairy Knight. Just all those words make so much sense on a Magic card. But the text box says, whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck. One goes in your hand, the other one goes in your graveyard.
Yeah, so interesting. This card is pretty good. I mean, this is a lot of card advantage very easily. It has flash, so you don't have to throw it out into danger and have to wait a whole turn to untap. No, you get to go wait for the end step and then throw it out there, and maybe not even do it then, because you might be like, I think that guy's got removal. He left all of his mana out. I won't cast my commander and play safe.
And because this deck is so special, the restriction means there's some upside and then there's some downside. So the upside is every single spell in our entire deck will trigger Nymris. We're going to be casting things so much and so often on opponents' turns. I think every single turn in this deck will just be draw go. I don't see why we wouldn't do that. Since every single card is an instant, that would be really satisfying. And maybe would even save time in a game. I don't actually know. But the problem with that is, well, there's not a lot of flash ramp spells in blue and black, as in there's almost 0.
There is literally none. None of our ramp has flash. So we just have to say, hey, this deck has absolutely no ramp, and we just have to accept that. We get to play at instant speed, but we don't get to ramp well, and that is going to be a struggle for this deck. But we actually do get 1 ramp spell.
There's a few lands that ramp, and there's 1 ramp spell. We'll get to it.
Yeah, so let's get into the first thing about these decks that we always do is, what are the best cards in the deck? This came to us full deck. What were the cards that we would say, hey, those are the cards that define this deck and are doing the best job? Well, the first one is Cunning Knight Bonder. I mean, all your things with flash cost 1 less. It's just reducing our spells. It's like our only ramp spell in the deck.
Oh, yeah, that kind of counts as ramp now that I'm thinking about it, because I wasn't even thinking of that one. Slither Wisp, along with Cunning Knight Bonder, are the 2 cards we weren't allowed to cut. And we didn't because they're all about flash. Whenever you cast a spell with flash, you draw a card and lose a life. Yeah. That's just insanity.
Yeah, and we did go a lot down on flash, but we're still 30-some-odd creatures with flash.
Yeah, there was originally 40-something, and we had to trim. Notion Thief, one of the best creatures with flash. People kind of, Notion Thief got real quiet when Hull Breacher got banned. He was like, it's all him. Don't look at me. And no one really plays that card as much because it's in blue-black. But it's kind of just this feel-bad, amazing, staple, bomb, destroy your life card.
I mean, yeah, it's an absolute house. Notion Thief absolutely will win you games, no doubt about it. Next one that that was already in the deck was Hullbreaker Horror. 7 mana, has flash. It's going to be one of our big win conditions because if we get this onto the battlefield, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, no one's going to be able to block our creatures that we have in play. All of our spells are cheap, instantaneous. No one's going to be able to resolve anything. Seriously, like, they try to play a 5-mana spell. Nope. Counter it or bounce it or just play some other spell that removes a creature. Bounce your spell back to your hand. Trigger Nymris, get my card back. And we're just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, over and over and over again. I mean, it's once you get set up with a Hullbreaker Horde, it feels like you can't lose in this deck. And something, Beezy, I didn't expect you to put this in the best cards in the deck, but
I wanted to talk about it.
Go ahead, talk about
It's Mystic Subdual. At first I was like, get it out of here. But it's got Flash, and it gives the creature -2/-0, and it loses all abilities. And then I was like, wait a minute. With Nymris, you draw a card, and that makes this better Kenris transformation, and I'm so in for that.
I don't think it's better transformation. It's Kenris
What was that?
I don't think it is better Kenris transformation, but it is Kenris transformation adjacent.
Ooh. Now we got to add and cut cards, and we're going to swap them 1 for 1. But unlike usual, this deck was submitted with a bunch of creatures, basically just any creature that had Flash. There's a lot of blanks, vanillas. We're not going to read those, and we can't really replace them with another blank or vanilla because the whole point is to cut them. So we're going to be adding different stuff in sort of categories.
Yes. So we're going to start in the first 13 creatures. I'm going to mention what they are. You're going to see them on screen real quick for like a second. And then we're just going to move to what we added because they're virtual vanillas. The first one's like 4 mana. It's Aven Reedstalker. Remember this thing from what? Amonkhet?
Origins? Amonkhet? Something?
I think it's Amonkhet. Doesn't matter. Regardless, remember this thing? Well, don't. Forget about it because we put in Pognify instead. This deck needed a lot of removal help, and we were on a budget. Now, usually Pognify is not something I'm going to go to in a black deck, but on a restricted budget, yeah, I'm totally down to play Pognify.
Yeah, we can splurge for 1 or 2 black spells, but not too many. We also cut Sentinels of Glenalendra, which is the exact same card as Aven Reedstalker, which is to say barely a card, and we added Rapid Hybridization, which is just the exact same thing as Pognify.
Interesting that we did that. Yeah, they're both. If you didn't know, if you were looking right from the screen, blue, destroy a creature, can't be regenerated. They get Lizard or they get Ape.
Right. Fairy Intruders, another vanilla, and we added Resculpt. We were going to add Reality Shift, but then we were like, wait a minute. I think Resculpt might be better. People have been telling us. I think we're going to get on that train. So we can answer artifacts or creatures with this and make a 4/4. No one cares about that.
Yeah, exactly. The 4/4 can be a little bit annoying. And in this deck specifically, it won't be. Nymris blocks really, really well because for some ungodly reason, this thing has 6 butts.
It's like the size of a flower. You could probably do this and crush it to dust in your hand, but it's got 6 toughness.
I mean, that thing is tough. If you did this for like an hour, it'd still be alive.
Like a Mastodon can run into it and it'd be fine.
Yeah, well, duh. Then we cut Windrake with Flash. Literally, the card we cut, it's Vexing Goal. Not very good. We added in Snuff Out. Ooh. Great removal. This literally costs nothing. This is going to be ideal for this deck because this will let us potentially cast our commander in the same exact turn, snuff something out.
Turn cycle, because we're going to wait 1 turn and then snuff something out to get a card, and it'll just replace itself?
Yeah.
This card's already one of the best removal spells, and when it replaces itself, you're living in magical Christmas land.
Yeah, the card is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Spire Monitor, remember this, Jake?
No, because none of these were even limited playable. We cut it for Snap. It untaps 2 lands, and the problem with these cards is that they kind of just go away, and you're like, down a card. But not with Nymris. You're not even down mana or a card. This is just insanity in the deck. You should play almost all these effects.
Yeah, the cards that replace your mana are really great. And like this is just a tempo advantage usually, and it's fine, but it doesn't fit in many decks. Maybe a Storm deck, stuff along those lines. When it replaces itself and draws a card, this card is insanely strong.
It is nuts. Like the Snap that this deck's playing would be a commander staple.
Yeah, that card would be so annoying, people would hate it.
People would advocate for a ban on that. All right, Skyline Predator going away for Curtain's Call. We did splurge a little bit. This is going to be a 3 mana, destroy 2 things. It's nice to be able to control the board more than just 1 creature at a time. So we got 2 dice, 2 for 1.
Yeah, exactly. We had to add a lot of removal. You're going to notice we added almost 10 removal spells because we had none to start with. We want to have around 10-ish removal spells. If we don't have any to start with, oh, you better believe we're adding them. Next, we cut Dewdrop Spy, not a vanilla, BZ, not a vanilla.
Has text.
Because when this one enters, you look at the top card of target player's library. Yep, that's it. That's Windrake that does that.
It's arguably worse because it makes you have to physically move.
I can see what you mean. Yeah, it is a lot more work and it doesn't actually do anything. We added in Arcane Denial. This is just great counterspell. We're happy to have it. We almost put Counterspell here, but we like Arcane Denial a little more than we like Counterspell.
Yeah, also, I'm not making fun of James for putting these cards in the deck. I kind of get where your head was at, where it's like, let's just fill it with flash creatures like part of it is the Nitpicking Nerds are building this deck, so you don't have to go too hard in the paint to get this done. I think it's fine to just throw all the flash things in there.
Well, I just think he threw 100 cards together quickly and said, "Hey, take this and make it function."
Totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. Whisper Agent, it surveils 1. Great. Rewind, though, actually counters a spell and then untaps 4 of our lands so that next turn we can get another trigger off of Nymris. This deck needs Nymris in play at all times to really take a hold of games.
We actually talked about how we thought Rewind is pretty meh. It was in there. We put it in D tier when we did our tier list of counter spells literally earlier this week.
Yep.
And I still think it's a D, but it's really good in decks like this. Again, like I said, if you can guarantee you're going to use that 4 mana every single time, like this deck can, I'm more than happy to have it in the deck.
Yeah, Rewind's going to represent not only a cantrip when you cast it, but then another cantrip when you cast another spell, because every spell in our deck is basically castable off those 4 lands.
Yeah, exactly. And what I really like about it also is like you can fight a counter, and if you need to play something second that turn, like they play another bomb spell, you can just counter that one too, potentially.
Yeah, Shielded Aether Thief is getting cut because it's only a 0/4, and we have no way to make energy, so it's gone. Unwind is the same thing for Rewind, except it hits non-creatures, so it's a little bit more narrow, and it untaps 3 lands, so it's a little bit worse. I don't know what else to say.
It is essentially, if Rewind is cancel, this is our negate to it.
Sure.
It kind of just fits like that. We also cut Fairy Vandal. We're not drawing cards, actually.
That's weird.
That's not how Nymris reads. And because we're not drawing cards, Fairy Vandal's not very good at all. So we added in Foil. Having another free counterspell going to be absolutely awesome for this deck.
We can easily pay the steep free cost easily. It's not going to be a problem at all. And being able to tap out with Nymris and protect it is just so valuable. It saves you an entire turn.
This is a deck where I would easily play Force of Negation, Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship. If I was building this deck with no budget right off the bat, those are the first 3 cards we're throwing in, because not only are they some of the best cards, in blue, in Commander, they're also synergistic with our Commander. I'm all in for that.
Yeah, there's 0-sum free counter spells that protect your Commander.
Yeah, so we'll take Foil, which is what we can afford on our budget.
Yeah, we didn't spend a lot with these ads, so you'll be noticing that. Blood Crazed Paladin's gone. It's got flash. It's only playable after a board wipe, but we're just going to counter those spells anyway. So let's get Dark Ritual in. Ramp, baby! Really, this is to power out Nymris 2 turns ahead of schedule so you can get the card draw train rolling sooner.
Yeah, that is exactly what this card is here for. It is to get Nymris out on turn 3, which is going to be a lot better, a lot stronger. It's going to be unexpected. When you pass with 3 mana up, well, they know your deck. They don't think, hey, you're definitely going to cast Nymris, but when you do, it's going to be a surprise, and they probably won't have any removal, meaning you're going to untap and have your protection up for it. It's hilarious. Another one where we just talked about how we thought this guy was overplayed in Commander.
Yeah.
This is a deck. Another one of the decks that we found where we're like, yes, 100%, I am thumbs up. And we actually said exactly in that video, you want to have a Commander who can get you a ton of card advantage to get over the fact that Dark Ritual is 2 for 1 of you.
Let me also say that this is very much a symptom of the fact that we're literally not allowed with this restriction to play any ramp. So this is like as close as we could ever get. Dark Ritual has never shined in a deck more because we said arbitrarily, no non-flash cards.
Yes. I mean, we came up with this idea and someone said, well, time to put your money where your mouth is.
With his money. And our mouths are now spitting money.
Next, we cut Black Lance Paragon. This is like a 3/1 enters and give itself Death Touch lifelink until end of turn. Technically, it does it to Knights. It could do it to Nymris, but yikes. I mean, this is not very good. It's okay at best. So we changed it out for Consider. This card is... We do want some amount of 1-mana spells to be able to actually trigger our Commander, and Consider is that. Is it a great card? No, but it's one of the best 1-mana instants that's going to draw that way.
It's kind of just like it's like a Nymris trigger. You put one in the graveyard and you draw one. Then you put one in the graveyard and you draw one. Perfect. Lurking Deadeye is a sort of death touchy, kind of like Black Lance Paragon, because the idea is that Nymris blocks and then, you destroy something because it does delta damage. We're just not playing that game. We kind of cut all the cards with that little sub-theme. Frantic Search, though, already one of the best blue cards in the format. And the fact that it now cantrips just makes it off-the-chain ridiculous. Lets you get multiple cantrips, just like Rewind, just nuts.
When did you ever say off-the-chain?
Right now.
Okay.
I'm mixing up my language.
Yeah, I have never... I don't think... we've been doing this channel for like 3 years, and I don't think you've ever said off the chain on this channel.
Please let us know.
I mean, if anyone has watched all our videos in the last 30 days and has a perfect memory, let us know. Yes.
All our videos are definitely longer than 30 days. I think if you watch them all back to back.
Oh, yeah.
We have over 750 videos.
Yeah, that's fair. I actually didn't even think about that. Next, we cut Zarasan the Trickster. 2 weeks in a row, we went And we kept this card till the very end of our cutting, and we're like, okay, we got a couple more cards. And like, what does Zero-San do in this deck?
It's like, wait a minute, he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything. That's not the synergy. That's not what this deck's doing. It's just not very good, the card. It's okay. It's cool. Fun design. Not very good. We added in Sublime Epiphany, which is awesome for this deck. It lets us do 5 things. We get to counter. We get to draw. We get to counter something, an activated ability. We get to bounce something. And we get to copy a creature on our side. I absolutely love this card. It's super cool. Is a lot of mana to hold up, but we're holding up all of our mana every turn, so we actually get around one of the main weaknesses of this card.
And it has quite a few sick, nasty bonus synergies, and a couple of them are the cards we're about to list right now. Zulaport Duelist is gone. That's I was thinking about them like, these 1-mana flash guys, they do replace themselves. But then we just needed space for things and realized that everything replaces itself, and Frantic Search and Snap are 0 mana and actually do things, so he's got to go. But Torrential Gearhulk, every single non-creature card in the deck, it just is castable with this for free. So this is a nice big fat boy who's going to get in the way on the ground and just double up your best spell, and it's so good with Sublime Epiphany. Oh my god.
Absolutely. I mean, Torrential Gearhulk is just a very solid card when you have a deck that is built to take advantage of it. And ours is the most built of any deck to take advantage of it. I mean, I can't think of a deck that is more built to take advantage of it. There's a couple more cards that are coming up that are also awesome with it.
Yeah, if you don't know, I guess I should probably explain. The sick synergy is you put Sublime Epiphany in your graveyard either by casting it or with Nymris, and then Torrential Gearhulk, they're always so hard to say. Torrential Gearhulk enters, and you cast Sublime Epiphany, making a Gearhulk, which gives you another spell, plus the 4 other triggers.
I don't know if I've ever struggled with the word Gearhulk, but yeah.
I've seen other content creators and myself every day.
I'm not saying you're wrong or that it isn't hard to say, just that I have never personally struggled with that word.
You want to say like Gearhulk or something.
Gearhulk?
Say it 25 times.
I will definitely mess up if I say it 25 times.
I knew it.
You got me there. We got Thieves Guild Enforcer. This is kind of the same thing where it's like, it was 1 mana kind of cantrip. I'd rather just play Opt every single time over a card like this, because this card doesn't do anything that our deck wants to do. We added in Lockmere Serpent. Do you know what this thing does? It is 7 mana and it has flash, and it's a 7/7. I know you can make it unblockable. I think you could sacrifice swamps to draw cards.
You don't know what it does because it's a 6 mana 7/7.
6 mana 7/7, and then I believe at the bottom you can pay black and blue while it's in your graveyard to exile 5 cards from another graveyard and put it back in your hand.
Yeah, it's a nice little graveyard hate. If you mill it with Nymris first, you don't have to worry about it because you're always going to have access to this thing. It's kind of sort of unkillable. In late game, you can smack through for 7. But I think this is like just good enough to make the deck.
So before we get into this next little adds and cuts, I want to say he mentioned something about a combo. We looked at the deck and we didn't see one, so we added one that would work so we can actually do a combo with our flash cards. We took out Soaring Thought Thief for the first one here, and we also cut Cradle of Safety because, honestly, these only give hexproof for 1 turn. So what's going to perform better than these? A counter spell that's going to protect us from board wipes and spot removal and big creatures and other scary things.
Yeah, initially we were like, oh, Cradle Safety, that's cute tech. And then it's like, wait, look at all these other cards we can play. So for this one, James mentioned he wanted a combo backup plan. So this isn't necessarily plan A, but this is going to come together because we're looking at a lot of cards. And it's going to be probably one of the main ways this deck closes, honestly, because it's just a control, sit here forever. Something's going to happen eventually, but I'm going to control the board to my liking and then close with either cracking in with a few giant creatures on one person over and over, or the following cards.
Yeah, they're Narumeha. That's a weird name. Master Wizard and Ghostly Flicker. We've went over this combo a little bit ago.
Bunch of bombs.
Yeah, we did. We mentioned all 3 videos from this week. Weird.
This is like the culmination of the whole week.
Yeah, apparently. So Narumeha, you cast Ghostly Flicker on 2 things. Doesn't matter what they are. Cast Narumeha. Targeting Ghostly Flicker, new Ghostly Flicker, targets Narumeha and a land. All right. Now we do it over and over again until we have infinite mana, and then we win from there with whatever.
Right. You can win with infinite mana, go crazy, and also, since we have Sublime Epiphany, that's kind of like more of a slam dunk way, because with Narumeha, you kind of want to make a copy and then target a player to draw a card, and you have to repeat those modes, so you don't want the other ones. So you're going to draw your entire deck, have multiple counter spells in hand, and then force everyone else to draw their entire decks and lose.
Yeah, exactly. So like we said, if you want to do it with Sublime Epiphany, I'll mention it one more time, but to be a little bit more clear, you have to only choose 2 modes. So there are 5 modes in the card. If you choose counter spell, you're going to run out of things and be countering your own spells. And it's just not going to work out for you very well at all. If you choose counter activate ability, same exact thing is going to happen. If you choose bounce, you will run out of things to bounce. So we choose draw a card and we choose copy our own creature. We will always copy Nahumeha. It's going to make a new one and die. That's completely fine. But we choose draw a card. And then what we can do is hopefully we have Teferi out because we want to get Teferi out first. And then we're going to, make everyone draw out their decks and die. But if we don't have Teferi out, what we can do is we can draw our whole deck first, get our foil to at least have some protection, then try and make everyone else draw out their decks until they die.
Yes, honorary best card in the deck, in addition to the other 5 we mentioned, is Teferi, Mage of Zalfir. Forces them to cast only sorceries. And so when you want to go infinite mana with Narumeya, Glow Flicker, and you're worried that they have something somehow, well, start with Teferi end step, or flash them in during that whole shenanigans combo.
Yep. Next cut was pretty much the same exact card as Cradle of Safety. It's Starlit Mantle. It's an aura, one-time protection. Again, a counter spell is just going to perform better than this every single time. But we did add in something kind of similar that I think is a cool card. Blessing of Leeches. Flash it in. It's an aura. Goes on our creature, and we can pay 0 to regenerate it. But on our upkeep, we lose 1 life piece.
No!
That's going to be backbreaking. Except it's not going to be backbreaking at all because we're going to be keeping our commander around longer than people want us to.
Yes, I'd rather have 0 regenerate over this hexproof one time and then +1/+1 that I don't care about. So if you're going to go an aura, I'd go Blessing of Leeches.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
The next cut was Ragged Veins, and I don't understand this one to the point that I might be missing something. Or, it was just kind of like hey, let's throw it in there and make 100 cards. It's enchanted creature, when it's dealt damage, its controller loses that much life. If there's something, let me know, and you can happily add this back in. But if not, play Think Twice. Not only counts as 2 spells because it flashes back, it's also good when you're resolving a Nymris trigger. You just throw it in the graveyard and take the other card.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally good card in this deck because one, we already are working with our graveyard. We want to throw stuff in there. We have to throw one of the 2 cards. We can't not throw one of the 2 cards in the graveyard. So Think Twice is a good one to throw away.
Yeah, we're into the card draw section now.
Yeah, I actually like this next card. It's Minions Return. It's cute. It says when a creature would die, it comes back under your control. It's an aura. You flash it in. But it's really not that good. It's kind of a bad card. But we added in Memory Deluge, which I think, again, works with the graveyard. We can flash it back. But also, it's just a solid instant that we can cast to trigger our commander and get more cards in our hand.
Dictative Erebos is gone, not because it's a bad card, but because it doesn't synergize with our deck enough. We don't have Chump Blockers. We don't have Sack Outlets. We even cut our little 1-drops. So no chance for that to be good. Flash of Insight, though, that's a juicy one. It's very similar to Think Twice, but I like the late game upside. This is probably going to actually help you close the door and combo people at the end of the turn. So you're going to cast it for X is 1. You don't even care about the first half of it. X is 1, get it in the graveyard or mill it with Nymris. Then you're going to flash it back for only 2 mana and you exile. Just dump every blue card in your graveyard you don't care about and look at the top 20 cards in your deck and just win.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely will be fine with this. I mean, this could potentially literally look through the rest of your deck.
This card's so good.
I mean, yeah, I think what's going to be the key to this deck, like we just mentioned, is you're going to build up till you get your pieces. You're going to leave Nahumeha and Ghostly Flicker in your hand all game until you can safely go off.
Yep. Ophidian Eye was card draw, but we cut it because we're not going to be trying to smack with Nymris. We're just going to leave it on defense, honestly. Chemist's Insight, 2 casts, and you're going to be discarding and drawing, and it's just going to give you a lot to do. It's also sort of a backup, like with these flashback spells. If you don't have Nymris in play, you can still cast spells and draw cards on everybody's turn. Yeah,
absolutely. Ophidian Eye is fine, a totally reasonable card, but again, Nymris is much better at blocking than he is at attacking.
We don't need that.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. We also got Dictated Crew Fix. This is a group hug card. I think this card is awful. I don't think you should basically ever play it.
This is how we lose, actually, if we resolve this, because we'll probably just lose.
We'll probably just mill ourselves out, yeah. We added in Mystical Teaching. This searches for every non-land in our entire
Demonic Tutor
deck. I mean, come on. It's 4 mana, get anything in your deck. Flashback, 6 mana, get anything in your deck. I am in for it.
You can cast it twice, and it says the word flash on it. Not many cards say the word flash on it.
I mean, yeah, this is like one of the best flash synergies that's in existence.
And we saved the best for last, because the next thing we need to do with this deck is recognize and make up for the fact that we can't play Mana Rocks. So we need to, never miss a land drop, because as soon as we do, there's no recovering. We're just down a land for the entire game. So we cut, I think, 7 or 8 spells for lands to bring it up to 40 total with MDFCs, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I think something super important to mention, like you said, is we cannot, not only can we not miss land drops, we absolutely have to hit every one of them, because we can't catch up. We already are going to be behind on mana. That is going to happen. There is no chance it's not going to happen. Every deck has some kind of ramp, whether it's mana rocks or it's it's cultivate, all of that kind of stuff. They're going to get ahead of us. So if we fall another step behind, we're already going to be behind every single game. If we fall that extra step behind, we will be losing. So we went on all the way up to 40 lands, and I'm 100% here. I might think that because there is so few, it might even be closer to 42. This would be my test lands because I want to be safe. If I play a game and I miss a land drop, I would probably write it down with this deck because
it can't happen
because it's mathematically. This is a deck that is mathematically way different than most decks we ever build, and I don't know exactly what the math would be. So I would keep track of that and potentially go up on lands if you ever start missing land drops.
Yeah, there's not a ton of board wipes. I think there's really 0 ways to kind of control the board. One non-budget upgrade, obviously Cyclonic Rift. There's a couple that do it at instant speed, but obviously instant speed board wipes are not really a thing you have flying around all over the place. So we're police. We are the police. We are answering every threat that could possibly kill us before we combo.
Exactly. So first we cut Grim Wanderer. This is a 5/3 for 2. That's bad. That's an awful card in Commander. There's also a hoop. Get it out of here.
No hoops.
Added in Dimir Aqueduct. We're totally down to play the bounce land in this deck. Something we just mentioned. We never want to miss a land drop. So with this, we can bounce a land to our hand and assure that next turn we're not going to miss our land drop. I really am a big fan of this in this deck. Yes, the tap land. Yes, it is. Usually I'm not suggesting to play these, but I'm in for it for this deck.
Not only that, it synergizes very positively with all of our cards that untap lands like Unwind, Rewind, Frantic Search, Snap, and maybe some more that I missed, to the point where now we're like, oh, I'm kind of ramping a little bit.
We also got Spell Stutter Sprite. It can counter some small spells. We're always going to have 2 basically for this, maybe 3. There are 8 fairies in this deck. Not super good overall, so we're just going to avoid it, and we're going to play Guildless Commons instead. Same thing as Dimir Aqueduct, except it makes colorless lands. We're totally down to not miss land drops in this deck. So bouncing land's going to help us. Same synergy as before. We're basically going to ritual a little bit when we play our untapped spells.
Yeah, we hope to see one of these every game. Next, we cut Manticore. It's the same thing as that dead shot guy from before. We're not trying to kill anything fancy like that.
Dead eye.
Yeah, dead shot eye. Dead eye shot dead guy.
Dead eye lurker.
And we added Myriad Landscape, which is factual ramp and enters tap, but then we get to find 2 basics that share a type and just actually go ahead on lands. This is one of the only ways, except for the next 2. I like that we fit some ramp lands in here.
I mean, we had to because we were struggling. Drudge Reaver, get out of this deck. This is a 2/1 for 4 with Regenerate. I don't even know close to what this card's supposed to do. It's real bad. Added in Terrain Generator. We only have 10 basics, but something you can do with this deck is you have Terrain Generator. Hold basics until you need to play basics. That's what you should do because Terrain Generator will let us put more basics in play to actually ramp.
Yeah, and it's something to hold up. We don't want to cast a spell. You'd rather have another mana for the next go around. This is sweet and super cool synergy with the untapped lands because you can go all right, activate Terrain Generator, put a thing out, then Frantic Search, untap my Terrain Generator, and the 2 lands needed to activate it.
Yep.
And then find basics when you dig.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's so awesome. We also cut Bold Plagiarist. This card copies counters.
It has flash. That's what it is.
It copies counters. This card's real poo-poo. We added in Drown Yard Temple. We can put in our graveyard with our Nymris trigger, and then we can pay 3 to put it onto the battlefield.
That's a ramp spell, baby.
Happy to do it with the crappy ramp. We're happy to do it in this deck.
You can dab on them when you do this one. All right, Portal Mage has to go. It moves attackers around, but we don't really care who's people attacking. We're like, hey, am I comboing or am I not? Because if I'm not, I'm killing everything that matters. That would stop me, and if I am, the game's over.
Yeah, Portal Mage just kind of stinks. It moves. It only lets you reselect one attacker. Maybe if this card Flash Gen, it could hey, reselect all the attackers. That's an interesting card. We can work with that. We can make it make sense. No, thank you. That card stinks. Add an Exotic Orchard. This is a budget. I mean, I put this in every single one of my 2 and up decks. It's so budget and it is so solid.
Budget staple. Phantom Steed is gone. Fiend Hunter is one of your creatures, and then it has to attack, but we have no way to bolster that attack. We can only attack with big boys who don't need the help. So we're cutting it for War Room, a way to draw cards that isn't a spell.
Yeah, War Room is totally just card draw. We also took out Overcharged Amalgam. We don't have creatures worth sacrificing. And for sacrificing him, then it's a 4-mana counterspell, and that is not good. We have tons of other good counterspells. The only 4-mana, we're already playing counters that cost 6 mana. They're way better than just countering your spell. They're doing much more for us. So that's 100% out of this deck. And in Bajuka Bog, staple of black decks.
Yeah, no need to explain that. We need Graveyard Hate. Base Camp, we're actually cutting lands for lands now in the last 2 cuts. Base Camp's gone. It just doesn't do anything. We added Port of Carfel. Yes, there's tap, but we can't play non-flash cards. And this is a really nice, if clunky, way to reanimate a creature at instant speed. We have no ways to do that other than this. So we can get a Teferi out at the end step. They can't even do anything because it's either on the stack in the graveyard or just in play. They can't really stop that. Or, fire off a Torrential Gearhulk can help dig us to more action.
Yeah, absolutely. This card, the fact that we get to hold this up like everything else in our deck, they don't know if we're holding this up. They don't know if we're holding up or what we're holding up. It is on the field. They see it, but they don't know if your plan is to activate that or cast a spell in your hand. It's super awesome that this is. Some of these have to be activated at sorcery speed. This isn't one of them.
You know what? It even gets back Narumeha. If she somehow dies, you can go for the combo again.
Yeah, that's completely fair. We also last cut Cabal Stronghold. There's only 5 basic swamps. I think he was thinking of Cabal Coffers, of how that works, because there was Urborg in here. So you thought you could make everything swamps, but it doesn't work with Cabal Stronghold. It only cares about basic swamps, so we're just going to cut it out of here. It's no good in this deck. And we added in Command Beaker in its place. Command Beacon. Yes, the Command Beaker. The Command Beacon in its place because our commander, we don't want it dead ever, and when it dies, we need to get it back sometimes.
It's another instant speed, tricky little spell. This deck is... There is no trickier deck. This is like they will have no idea what you're up to. Most of the time, they're just going to be like, oh my god, I don't want to play my threat. I'm the next person in the turn cycle. I'm just going to get countered if I do this. You're going to be psychologically warring against their brains.
Yes, but that's the deck. We got to go over some stats. Let's do the stats.
So the budget was $350 total for the finished product, counting the cards that were already there. So originally, after we cut the cards, there was $258 in the deck. So we added $60.87. Dang, we're good.
Damn.
Put us below the $350 mark. So, James, boom.
The original average mana value of this deck was 3.31. We raised it a little bit to 3.37. It's going to function a lot better, though. You're not playing functional vanillas all over the place.
Yes, there's more lands, so every card counts for more of a percentage. And also, I would argue it's still less. MDFCs, we always kind of count as 0. And every spell that untaps lands is also 0. This is not going to cost you anything.
Yeah, that's very true. And total changes with 34 overall changes.
Not too shabby.
We added a lot of lands. We really added a lot of lands. I thought that was important. But that is our video. Special shout-outs to every single one of our patrons. Love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel directly. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
It means a world to us. Not necessarily this one. It means not like the world, but it means a world.
At least one single world to us.
Because Earth is too small, so it means like Jupiter to me.
Yeah, you guys mean Jupiter to us.
And if that isn't clear, then I can't help you. You can also support us though if you want to help us. TCGplayer.com affiliate link. Buy the cards that we're all trying to buy weekly, any way.
Week.
And then when you start with the link in the description, TCG Player sends us their money, so you don't have to send us your money.
Yep, you literally just start with our link, buy the cards you were going to buy anyway, and we get a
I think I said that.
There's also Dragon Shield link in the description below. Go there. EU and US links in the description below. Once you're on that website, you're going to see that they have the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
And you're going to buy those sleeves because you want them, and we're going to get a kickback just for you buying cool sleeves.
Yeah, we're going to get a kickback just for you buying cool sleeves.
Yeah, I think I said that.
Oh, okay. One thing before we end the video or go to the tidbit about our lives, though, is we want to give shout-outs to our gravy gods. And you might be wondering, what in God's name is a gravy god? Well, we have a membership that we don't really talk about on YouTube because it is tied to our aspirations to eventually, and hopefully soon, start streaming weekly onto YouTube. And that's really where the memberships are going to come in. So if you subscribe at a certain level, we're going to shout you out, like Icarus Kid, who is he's ahead of the curve. Honestly, hipster of the gravy gods. No one even knows what that is, and he's already one.
Ugh, you spelled Icarus with a K? Gross.
One of us likes you, I guess.
Also, Kirglenberger.
The Kirglenberger.
The Kirglenbergler.
Burger burglar.
Also has a K in his name.
Ultimate hipsters. I mean, honestly, you've missed the boat. It's no longer cool to do it before everybody else, but it will be cool once we start streaming for everyone to go do it.
Yeah,
if that's just another way to support the channel.
We appreciate your membership. We got to do a tidbit about our lives. Okay. I mean, I just got something off
that was easy.
I mean, I have been so sleepy lately. Like, I have cut caffeine completely out of my diet, and I just have felt I've literally been I napped before. I definitely I enjoy a nap once a day, for an hour.
Nobody's immune to naps.
No one's immune to naps, but I always did a nap once a day. I just feel like I sleep all day, and I feel like I could go to bed right now and sleep more.
You could sleep the night. It's like 7 or 8 p.m. right now, right?
It's 11.
My eyesight is very poor.
It is 11 p.m. at night.
I can't see it. All right, I'll admit that I just can't see it.
Okay.
It's 11 at night, so I guess that's more reasonable.
It's 11 at night, and I could easily sleep through the whole entire night right now. And I just slept for 3 hours, and I slept till like 2.
Yeah, because you went to bed late last night, but then you slept into like 2.
I didn't even go to bed that late. No, I went
What
to.
is happening to
so,
you? Tell us what's happening to Cherries.
So
you have all the information and diagnose him.
I went to bed at 12 last night. Got up at 8.
So that's 8 hours.
Edited. Yep, that's 8 hours. Edited. Went back to bed around
11.
10. It was around 10.
Oh God.
Slept till 2. Got up.
It's 12 hours.
Ate dinner. Went back to bed around 7.
15 hours.
And then I slept until about 9:30.
Amber probably hasn't even slept that much today.
I don't know what it is. I feel like I could just sleep all the time.
This might be Joe's last episode. He'll just be like dead. He'll just never wake up.
No, I'll be sleeping. I won't be dead. I'll be asleep.
Like a coma, but he's just asleep.
I'm just sleeping. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.